I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at my website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is It's Not Business as Usual. And that is because we're going to be discussing the effect that the full moon lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Taurus on Saturday may have on a lot of us over the next 6 months, because eclipses have an effect for 6 months at a time. And so it is not business as usual because the planets are lined up in a very unusual way. I can't really remember a time when this has happened before. So I'll explain it to you. There are 10 planets up there. There are 5 of them in the Earth signs, and they're in a grand trine in the Earth signs, so you think that since the Earth signs are very practical and hardworking and realistic, that it would just be all about the money right now. But it's not business as usual, because there are an equal number of planets, another 5 planets, that are in a trine in the water signs. And what that means is that there are no planets in any of the air signs or the fire signs. All 10 planets are only in these 2 elements, earth and water, which are generally compatible with each other because the good earth needs water to make things grow, and water needs to have the feeling of being needed and being nurturing. And so that's why water and earth get along really well. The same thing with air and fire. Air signs have a lot of creative ideas, and fire signs have a lot of energy. So if a fire sign wants to sort of get going on something, it's a good idea to connect up with somebody who has a good idea first, and then try to get it off the ground. And that's why they're compatible. So what we're seeing is there's nothing going on in the air and fire signs, and pretty much everything's going on between 5 in the earth signs and 5 in the water signs. And remember, these 2 elements are sort of coming from different places. And so, for instance, among the earth signs, we know that under a full moon, the moon opposes the sun. So the exalted moon in Taurus at 5 degrees is opposing the sun in Scorpio, also at 5 degrees. And then there are 2 other planets there, and it's Jupiter and Uranus. And then Venus in Virgo is trining them, and so is Pluto in Capricorn. So that's a very beneficial grand trine in the earth signs. And so, for instance, you could be concerned with your job, or your health, or the whole healthcare field, since Venus is in Virgo, and that's what Virgo rules. Or there can be people in upper management that are trying to make decisions that benefit them. That would be the effect of Pluto in Capricorn, because Capricorn rules our careers, and it's a practical business sign. And then there are people that just want money and more of it, but they're willing to work hard for it, and that's because not only is the exalted moon in Taurus at 5 degrees, but Jupiter is there at 11 degrees, and Uranus, a malefic planet, is in Taurus much later in the sign at 22 degrees. And so these 3 planets in Taurus are spread out. And we just sort of want to remember that. And so they have their eyes or their desires certainly on practical, realistic matters that have to do with their job, their health, their career, and certainly their investments. That's what Taurus rules. And so they want money and more of it, or they want expensive property, or they're very interested in their investments. And yet there are another 5 planets in the water signs. And the water signs all rule healing. So they're really coming from a different place. And so when we're looking at the 5 planets in the water signs, there's a different kind of configuration, because there's 3 planets in Scorpio, and we know that the sun is opposing the exalted moon, but the sun is at 5 degrees of Scorpio, and Mercury is just at 10 degrees, and Mars, the ruler of Scorpio, is at 11 degrees. Mercury and Mars are very closely aligned, and so is the Sun in Scorpio. So these 3 planets are not spread out. They are closely conjuncting each other. And a conjunction occurs, the effect of a conjunction means that it sort of doubles the strength of the planets, or in this case, since there's 3 planets in Scorpio, it'll triple the strength of them. But remember, one of them is the ruler, and another is the Sun. Those are pretty strong. They are trining 2 other planets that are very strong as well. And that is because they are trining Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, and it is in that sign, and so is Saturn in Pisces, and it is very strong. Both of those planets are retrograde, but they are powerful because of their character. For one thing, Neptune is at home in the sign it rules, so it's the ruler. But Saturn, and so 2 rulers are trining each other. Neptune in Pisces and Mars in Scorpio. And Scorpio's other ruler, Pluto, is sextiling, it's in Capricorn, but it's sextiling that Mars. They're getting along really well. Well, that Pluto is also sextiling Neptune in Pisces. So it's lending support to these 2 rulers, and they're trining each other, which makes them stronger. And then you add additional strength because Mars is a malefic planet, and so is Saturn. But they're getting along beautifully, and they're trining each other. What effect right away could this have? Well, these 5 planets, which have a great underlying strength, and they're in harmony, are all trining the sign of Cancer. Cancer doesn't have a planet in it, but look at the backup it's got. It's got a lot. And this benefits Cancer even if there aren't any planets there. So what we see is that there's a different consideration going on among the water signs. For instance, some people could be very concerned with matters that have to do with justice, because that's what Scorpio rules. And also with some sort of financing, because Scorpio rules money coming in from any other source. So it rules credit, debt, taxes, loans, insurance, inheritance, grants, and so on. And then, so the planets in Scorpio can be concerned with justice, because that's an overriding concern for all Scorpios. And then the planets that are in Pisces and Pisces is a double-bodied sign. It means that there are some people around that can be very concerned with covert activities or hidden activities behind the scenes, little things that they think they're getting away with, or maybe they have gotten away with them. And also it could be dealing with imposters or phonies, or even evil, terrible things going on behind the scenes. So that would be one concern. And some people can't take the pressure of their lifestyle, so they may be seeking escape. Pisces rules escape. So they could be seeking escape through alcoholism, drug addiction, or sexual promiscuity. And so that's one way that a Pisces could go. But it's a double-bodied sign, and so there are also a lot of people, since Pisces is a healing water sign, it can be that there are other people who realize they've made mistakes in life, and they want to rise above that. They want to get beyond that. They want to lead a better life. And so that's good too. And so I just want you to take these things into consideration. But as we're looking at these 10 planets, it's 5 in one element and 5 in another. And so which group is going to win? Is it the money and the more of it group? Or is it one that is concerned with issues that have to do with our feelings and our emotions, and maybe healing up, and so on? These people are coming from different perspectives. Well, in order to get the answer to that question, we should try to look at the planets in a little different way. Same planets, but let's look at them in a little different way. Let's ask ourselves, what else is going on? And even though there's only 10 planets up there, 9 of them are opposing each other. So let's take a look at that. First of all, it's not even in the oppositions. the planetary count is not even, and neither is the weight. And so we're trying to answer a question. Is it going to be money and more of it, or is it going to be rising above your problems, or seeking justice? So there are 6 planets in the fixed financial signs, and they are all opposing each other. And so that exalted moon in Taurus at 5 degrees has Jupiter there at 11 degrees and Uranus at 22 degrees. These 3 planets are each in different decans of the same sign, so they have different subrulers. They're not together. Okay, so the exalted moon is at 5, Jupiter, so that's being subruled in the first 10 degrees of the sign by one planet. The Jupiter is at 11 degrees, it's being subruled by a different planet, and Uranus is at 22 degrees and being subruled by a completely different planet. That one is Saturn, a malefic planet subruling another malefic planet. That's not too good. That's one good reason why it's not business as usual, because there isn't enough money around. And so these 3 planets with different subrulers are not reinforcing each other. They're all in the same sign, but they're picking up heavy oppositions. They're being opposed by another 3. Well, what's happening with these 3? And what we see is a different story. As planets have weight. You have to weigh what effect a planet is having on another planet. Or you have to weigh the geometric angles and the speeds of the planets that are moving. And then the question that I ask every week in order to try to write the script is, what's going on here? Which one is weighing heavy and which one is weighing light? What will the effect be of that? And so what we see in the 3 planets that are opposing the 3 in Taurus, and they're in Scorpio, we see a different picture. And it's a heavier weight, a much heavier weight. Why? Because the sun is at 5 degrees, and Mercury is at 10 degrees, and 1 degree later, Mars is at 11 degrees. These planets, a conjunction takes place when planets are 7 degrees or closer to each other. And so these planets, one of which is the sun, and another of which is the ruler of the sign, so they have great strength, they're all conjuncting. And so it's sort of a powerhouse. So if somebody wanted to get really mad at somebody else, they would do it. And they may be very concerned with issues of justice. That's what Scorpio rules. And so they would, the example could be in a lunar eclipse like we're having on Saturday. It can be that one woman goes and another woman comes, because it's the moon that's being eclipsed and the moon rules women. And so it can be that the woman who's leaving or sort of wants out of something sort of wants to take a lot of money with her. She may want some nice perks like a nice severance package, or she may want some very expensive property as a little perk before she leaves. But somebody else could be saying, they could be really mad at that. And they could be saying, look, first of all, there's not enough money to do that, or secondly, you haven't produced anything that is sufficient for how much you want. And so there can be a argument about that. Or there can be, between the group that wants money and more of it and the other group that wants justice, I would say that the weight between these 6 planets that are opposing each other is heavier on the justice side. Scorpio is the stronger sign. And so then we'll look at the other 3 planets. Remember I said there are 9 planets opposing each other. Well, the other 3 planets that are also opposing each other is Venus in Virgo, which is a mutable sign. And Venus is a very nice planet, and it could make people want to stick to the math, or stick to the numbers, or only talk about facts and details, and money as well. And so that's what Virgo rules. But it's coming up and being opposed by both Saturn and by Neptune in Pisces. And remember, Neptune is the ruler of the sign, so it's very strong. Well, Saturn is there as well, and it's a malefic planet. When Venus and Saturn oppose or square each other, it is a sign of betrayal. Okay, so we know that somewhere around, one of the reasons why it's not business as usual is because there's a betrayal somewhere. And so we have to keep that in mind. And that is why, it's not just 5 against 5, or that there are certain elements like air and fire that don't have any planets in them. But it's that when you look at the oppositions, the planets are not weighted the same. And there's different meanings that come out of that. And that's why it's not business as usual. And so we have to expect that the people that want money and more of it, they're not going to change. They're still going to want that. And it's an exalted moon in Taurus. Hey, that could be great for somebody who's investing. Right until something else happens that other people don't agree with, and then it could turn into a different story. And people may want to invest on one level, but if they've got a lot of bills or loans or debts or credit problems on another level, it's not going to be business as usual no matter what. And so that's where we are right now. And I don't think there's a way out of this. These are the conditions we will have to work under right now. And in the next 6 months, just remember, one woman goes and another woman comes somewhere in the world. We'll hear about it because it's going to be somebody who's wealthy, or it's going to be somebody who is in upper management, or it's going to be somebody connected with a field that a lot of people know about, such as the healthcare field. Or banking, or investments. So these things are going to go on for a while. And that's why I thought that you should know that it's not business as usual. And part of it is because there's one group that just wants the money, and there's another whole group that is more concerned with what I would call the human condition. And whether there's justice, or whether there's things behind the scenes that have to be fixed or handled, or whether it's just that there are people that really want to learn from their mistakes and live a better life. Why shouldn't they? I mean, that's very commendable. And if that's you, then my hat's off to you. Good luck. You'd have a lot of support with that, because the planets in Scorpio are being trine. The reason why there's so much more strength in the water signs is because there's 2 rulers trining each other, Mars in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces, and there's 2 malefic planets, once again Mars in Scorpio and Saturn in Pisces, and they are trining each other. Of the 5 planets in the water signs, 3 of them are tremendously strong. And that's not occurring. In the 5 planets in the earth signs, there's only 1 that's really strong, but it's the exalted moon. I mean, if there's a woman leaving somewhere and she wants some money, she'll probably get some, but she won't get what she wants. She won't get everything she wants. Or there's just not going to be enough money around. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, it might be really lucky for you that there aren't any planets in fire signs right now. Because, Aries, maybe you can take the load off, or you can take a little breather right now, as long as you're not concerned with financial affairs. But if you are concerned with financial affairs, you could get caught up in some sort of discussion about investments. Remember, the exalted moon and Jupiter and Uranus are all in Taurus right ahead of your sun sign. Or you could be involved with discussions that deal with healthcare costs, for instance. That is Venus trining all of those planets, Venus in Virgo. Or you could be a little bit worried about the status of your career, because Pluto in Capricorn is squaring your sun. There's nothing in your sun sign, but that's a pretty powerful square, since Pluto is really backed up now. And so there could be a change in your career, Aries. And it might just be due to decisions made by upper management who are thinking a little bit more about things that will profit them instead of things that will profit you. And there isn't enough money to go around. So Aries, try to take things very calmly this week, but also realize that the effect of this this lunar eclipse is going to last for 6 months. So you have to be real careful with your money, Aries. And one good thing, if you are careful and you don't gamble or you don't take chances right now, Aries, there is an eclipse coming up in your sign this spring. And you are going to make a new beginning. And that's why I think you should sort of hunker down and sort of mind your own business and get yourself set up for a new beginning. Because it looks like it's going to be coming your way. You just have to plan for it, and that's why I would be a little quiet right now, Aries, and just put a pencil to some things that you want to say, well, how will this work, or how will that work, or what bills do I owe, or something like that. Just try to be as practical as you can, because I think it's definitely going to put you in a better position by the time of the Aries eclipse this spring. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. Well, Taurus, who could argue with a grand trine? There's 3 planets in your sign, and it is the exalted moon on Saturday at 5 degrees. Jupiter is there at 11 degrees, and Uranus is in your sign later on at 22 degrees. They are spread out. They all have different sub-rulers, and so your attention may be focused on money or property or the high cost of living. And Taurus is a hard worker, and so they like good money. Taurus rules gourmet food and wine and very expensive property. And so you could really have your mind on that, Taurus. And if I were you, that's all I would have. You can have your mind on it, Taurus, but I wouldn't sort of take any gambles at all with money, because you might be up against people that would disagree with you on that. And the unfortunate thing is that their disagreement would be much more vehement than you would be thinking it would be. And so you would be risking something by sort of going overboard right now. So I wouldn't do that if I were you, Taurus, because these planets are not conjuncting each other. And so they're spread out. And Uranus, a malefic planet, is being subruled by Saturn. That is not good. It means the value of investments can fluctuate a lot. And unfortunately, they can go down, but they wouldn't come back up as fast. And so you have to guard your assets right now, Taurus. And at the same time, your health could be better because Venus in Virgo is trining your sun. And you can know influential people at the top or in government, because Pluto in Capricorn is trining your sun. So I would say if you're wanting to sort of rub elbows with the right people, I think you can do it right now, Taurus. That would be nice. But I'd be real careful what you do with your money, because it's not business as usual right now. And believe it or not, you could provoke a situation that would be quite costly to you, and you'd be the one ending up paying for it, either by not getting what you want or by paying too much for what you want. And that's why you should sort of guard your assets right now. But this would not be a good time for you to expand too much, or to try to get your hands on more property or more investments. If you got into an argument about money, you would lose it. And that is not because your sign isn't loaded with good planets. It's because there are stronger planets opposing your sign. And that's the 3 in Scorpio right now. And they're stronger, and they have more strength backing them up than your sign does. You know, these things are weighted differently. So you cannot afford to take a risk right now, Taurus. You might think you can. You might come up with a million facts and figures about why you should. But I wouldn't push it right now if I were you, Taurus. Take it easy, because it's not business as usual. So if you got away with getting money out of somebody or expensive property out of somebody before, I would not risk trying to do that this time around. You would not succeed. You wouldn't get what you want. You might get something, but you wouldn't get what you want. So don't try. You know, if timing is everything, this is not the time for that, Taurus. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. Well, once again, Gemini, there's nothing in the air signs. There's a whole lot going on behind your sign, Gemini. So, Gemini, you could really have your mind on money right now, and on practical matters, and on investments, and on careers, on your health, or the cost of health care. You could have your mind on all of that. But I think there is a financial matter that is somewhat highlighted in the background of your life, and it may have something to do with expensive property. And I would say, Gemini, that you could collect a lot of information right now, but this may not be the right time to sign on the dotted line if you're thinking of buying something. And the reason why is that there's in a way, it's because the planets in the heavens are so unbalanced. Even though there's 5 in earth and 5 in water and nothing in the air signs or the fire signs, that's pretty unbalanced. That's not usually the way those planets operate. You know, they all go at different speeds and in different directions. And then how come it's like this now? Well, I don't have the answer to that. I don't rule from above. I'm just telling you what's going on down here. And so you can have an awful lot, be very concerned with financial matters behind the scenes, Gemini. But I would say you need to be careful and gather facts. You may have the money to make a pretty good investment, but I wouldn't do it right now. If I were you, I would take a step in that direction, okay? Because there's 2 eclipses in Libra next year. They're going to trine your sun. You are going to advance. There could be new partnerships coming to you, Gemini. But if you're thinking of doing something with your own money, if you're investing your own money behind the scenes, which you might do, because there's a lot of light in the background of your life. The exalted moon is there on Saturday, along with Jupiter and Uranus. I would say, you know, you should sort of try something on, maybe as a trial period, before you make a final decision, and certainly before you part with a lot of money. Okay, so it should be almost a 2-step process. You know, head for your heart's desire, but try it on and explain it's a trial. And then if that works out, you could go forward. Because the closer you get to the first Libra eclipse in 2024, the better off you'll be. So think about that, okay? All right, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer. Well, Cancer, remember I said there are no planets in your sign right now, but it's loaded with possibilities. And the reason why is you have 5 strong planets. Well, 4 of them or 3 of them are very strong. You have the Sun, Mars, and Mercury compactly conjuncting each other in Scorpio and all trining your sun. So you can be interested in matters that have to do with justice. You may be deciding, fair is fair. And so if you have been treated unfairly, or if somebody's just been sort of kidding you along and not meaning anything, then, you need to decide what to do about that, Cancer. Well, don't worry. No matter what you decide, you are going to have powerful backup if you make a decision right now. And the reason why is that Neptune and Saturn in Pisces are also trining your sun. So that's 2 rulers of their own signs. They're very strong, trining your sun. And 2 malefic planets, Mars and Saturn, also trining your sun. And the sun is trining your sun. Do you see what I mean, Cancer? Nothing in your sun sign, that is not going to stop you, Cancer, because you've got so much backup around you. And so, the question was, well, which is going to win? The money and more of it group, or the one that is more concerned with the human condition, or their own emotions, or having made a mistake, wanting to rise above it and go on and lead a better life? And Cancer, you might be involved in the group that wants to lead a better life. At least I hope you are, because you would have tremendous support with that. So if you were thinking of turning over a new leaf, Cancer, this is the perfect time to do it. Because even if you were taking a step in a new direction and you weren't too sure how long the road would be, or whether you'd encounter any barriers, or or whatever, I can assure you, you have so much support behind you that whoever's supporting you or whatever is supporting you, they are not going to let you fail, Cancer. You are not going to fail. So if I were you, I would aim high right now. You have a very good chance of making it. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Leo. Well, there aren't any planets in fire signs right now, Leo. And, you know, Leos are always full of energy and ready to go. And they love the things that their sign rules. Leo is the traditional ruler of the 5th house of children and sports and love affairs. Now, not marriage, just love affairs. and having good times and entertainment. It rules the whole entertainment industry. And so it rules acting and fun. And and it rules leadership. And so Leos always like to be the captain or the boss. And you might not find yourself in that position at the moment, Leo, simply because there's no backup in the fire signs at all. There's nothing in fire signs. So this is a good time for you just to be thinking about what's important to you, Leo. And that can be because there can be some financial pressure on you right now. And I would say it's having the effect of closing in on you. And the reason why is there are 6 planets in the 2 fixed financial signs, and they all square your sun sign. So you have financial problems somewhere, Leo. And you've got to decide what to do about it, because it's not going to get better. It'll get worse if you don't do something about it. And if you let it get too bad, it'll just sink you. And you don't need to go through that. If you turn around, Leo rules courage. If you turn around and you use your courage to confront people that are dealing with you about financial matters, then you may be able to reasonably work something out. You'd have to try real hard to do that because there isn't enough money around in the world anymore, and people are all, you know, they sort of want to grab at things. Somebody could want to grab at your money. Or you may want to, since Leo rules extravagance, you may really want to spend money right now. That would be a very bad idea, Leo. Because you are going to have future costs, even ones that you're not contemplating. They could come up too. And so, you've got the exalted moon, Jupiter, and Uranus in Taurus, all squaring your sun. And you've got the sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio squaring your sun as well. So you should go on vacation, Leo, or you should take it real easy right now, if you can, because and yet you really do need to solve a financial problem quickly. And I would say, Leo, that it's going to cost you more than you want to pay. But Leo, it would be an investment in a happier future because you'd get it over. You need to end something that is a financial problem or a financial conundrum. You need to end it. And it doesn't matter how much it's going to cost you now. It's going to cost you a whole lot more in the future if you don't end it. And so that has to be done right now. And whatever it costs you, be consoled with the fact that once it does cost you that, it's over. It's over. And that's the only way to get it to be over or to end it, is sort of like pay up. And you probably have to pay more than you want. But how much is your happiness worth, Leo? Hopefully you can't put a dollar amount on that. You know what makes you happy inside. Well, this is a time when you're just going to have to pay the money. And, I believe you could afford it, Leo. I don't think it's going to put you in the poorhouse. It might be more a question of whether you want to pay that much money for something. But, okay, even if you don't want to, you'll have to do it to end it. And if you don't end it, it'll end you. So I hope you get away from that. It is not business as usual, Leo. It might be something where you've gambled on something. Well, the gamble's not paying off. and it's not going to. So you have to end something. And whatever the cost is, if it's buying you your freedom, it's worth it. You know, you want to turn your back on your past. For one reason, that Aries eclipse that's coming up this spring is going to trine your sun. You want to be in a position to make a new beginning. But you can't do it by holding on to past problems. You have to resolve them. Okay, I'm sorry I'm getting so strict on that, but it's sort of like pass or fail. And Leos don't like failing. So it's just going to cost you some extra money to pass right now to get something done right. But you can probably do that. And that will just put you right where you want to be. Ready for a new beginning this spring. I hope that's where you want to be anyway. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, Venus is in your sign. You can still be in the mood for love, Virgo. Or you can be, you know, sort of happy with the way things are going in your life. Now, it doesn't mean everything's perfect. Virgos love to worry, so they can generally find things to worry about. Okay, fine. But I think that people are seeing that you are a person that is sort of methodical and practical and does like to stick to the math. Your sign rules accounting, and you just may want to sort of get your own life in order by getting the books in order. In other words, you probably have insurance, and so you'd have to make sure that you're paying the different types of insurance at the right time. Or you may have investment accounts, and tax season is going to be coming up this spring. You've got to make sure that all of that is right. Virgos like working on paperwork. They like putting a pencil to things and going over the details and then checking and checking and checking it. Virgo rules banking. It's nice that Venus is in your sign, Virgo, if you're dealing with anything that has to do with banking, because even if you have a problem, it should turn out to work in your favor right now. So if I were you, I'd make sure that all your banking records are really in good shape right now while you have Venus in your sign. But just remember, Virgo, when we look a little closer at the way the planets are positioned, we see that Venus in your sign is being opposed by Neptune in Pisces, the ruler of the sign, and by Saturn in Pisces. And when Venus and Saturn are opposing or squaring each other, it is a sign of a betrayal. And so I would say, Virgo, you might be a little let down when you realize that not everyone is your friend, and that there may have been some people for a very long time that were just stringing you along, or just kidding you, or sort of playing mind games with you. But were they really sincere? Did they really mean it? Well, maybe not. And maybe that's why there's a betrayal somewhere in your life right now, Virgo. And it would not have been you. It would have been somebody else who may have been kidding you or stringing you along, or just sort of taking advantage of your careful, diligent nature and using it to their advantage instead. And if you have to use people, you're not being a friend, and the other people that you're using you don't consider to be friends. They just are commodities. And you don't want to be treated like that, Virgo. So if you discover some sort of betrayal in your life somewhere, count yourself lucky that you find it out now. Because there's still a grand trine in Earth signs. You could still go on, Virgo. In fact, even if we have disappointments now because it's not business as usual, well, maybe the truth is coming out in different ways right now, but we can learn from the truth and rise above it. Anybody can right now. The trine in the water signs is very strong, and it rules healing. So even if someone has been insincere and perhaps just using you for their own good, better to find it out now and move on. Because you have Venus in your sign. you could still be in the mood for love. There could be somebody new around the next bend, Virgo. Don't worry about it. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? I mean a Libra. Libra, I'm sorry. Well, Libra, yours is an air sign, and there's nothing in the air signs. And so there may not, at this moment, there may not be a lot going on in your life, but there could be things coming up in your future because there was just an eclipse in your sign. So, I mean, and it was a solar eclipse. And solar eclipses always denote new beginnings. And so you could be really involved in some sort of new beginning. It could be at work, it could be a move in your home, it could be a new relationship, it could be some new hobby that you're starting, or it can be that you just want to gather more people to become partners of yours so that maybe your business or your interests can expand. That's a good idea. This is a perfect time to do that. What you have to watch out for is that Pluto in Capricorn is squaring your sun. And sure, there's nothing in the air signs at all, but that Pluto in Capricorn is pretty well backed up a lot. And it would denote people in upper management or in high places that could want to make decisions that benefit them and not you. So you have to be careful about that, Libra. Be careful what you agree to now, or be careful what you sign. Because other people are thinking of what they can get out of it. They are not necessarily thinking on your behalf of what will happen. So you have to do your own thinking right now, Libra. And you pretty much have to decide, oh, what is best for my future? Ask yourself that question. Because with 2 more eclipses in your sign in 2024, you really do have a good future. And so whatever you decide to do, or whoever you're with, or wherever you think you're going, how will it affect your future? And it should be a very positive future that you're looking at. Because that's what happens when eclipses happen in your sign. And you just had one, and you're having 2 more next year. So you're going forward, Libra. And just realize not everyone has your best interests at heart. They have their best interests at heart. And so just be cautious. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Oh, Scorpio. Well, remember there's 5 planets in the Earth signs under Saturday's lunar eclipse in Taurus, and there's an equal number, 5, of planets that are in the water signs. And your sign is particularly strong under this full moon lunar eclipse, because the sun will also, a lunar eclipse means the moon opposes the sun, and leading to indecision or confusion. And this could occur anytime in the next 6 months. But that moon at 5 degrees is opposing the sun at 5 degrees in your sign, and then the picture changes, because even though there's 3 planets in Taurus opposing 3 planets in your sign, they don't have the same weight. The heaviness is in your sign, Scorpio, and it is being backed up. In other words, the Sun, Mercury, and Mars are closely conjunct, and Mars is your own ruler, and the Sun is there. That's really great. And then they are being trined by another ruler, Saturn, Neptune in Pisces, and Saturn is there as well. So we have 2 rulers trining each other, and 2 malefic planets trining each other. It would be real hard to beat a water sign right now, and particularly you, Scorpio. I don't think anybody's going to beat you, but you'll have to think real carefully about what you're doing, particularly about money, because the 3 planets in Taurus do oppose the 3 planets in your sign. But their opposition isn't weighted as heavily because the planets in Taurus are spread out, and the planets in your sign are closely conjunct, which triples their strength. And then the trine, you've got a ruler and a malefic planet trining your sun. And that is not happening to the planets in Taurus. They have good planets, Venus and Pluto trining the sun, but not powerful planets. And so if you're involved with any form of healing, of learning from your mistakes and wanting to rise above them, or of deciding that this is a time when justice must be done, you'd be absolutely right. about both things. And so fair is fair, Scorpio. And you could be mad at something right now, or it could be coming up. And Scorpios have so much patience, they almost never run out of patience. But it might happen now. You somewhere in your life, Scorpio, I think you're saying enough is enough. And, you know, fair is fair. If somebody hasn't been treating you very well, or if all the people that want money and more of it are not at all concerned with the human condition or with matters of justice, or just want to grab whatever they can for themselves, which indicates avarice and greed. You know, Scorpios really aren't greedy. They are excellent money managers. But they're usually very good at managing other people's money as well as their own. And they're diligent and good at that and sincere about it. There isn't any greed involved. They're just naturally good at that. And so you could be a little mad at something right now, Scorpio. But if you're mad on the side of justice, or you're mad on the side of wanting to learn from your past mistakes and take a higher path in life, then you could use that anger and energy to your benefit right now by just realizing you've got to move on, or you've got to just get going in a direction that is better for you. And because your sign does rule justice, you have a very strong sense of justice. And so that means that when something isn't fair, or when other people are taking advantage of you, that you'll tolerate that only up to a certain point. And when that point is reached, that's it. And you may be at that point now, Scorpio. If somebody's been stringing you along, if somebody's been playing games with you, if somebody's just been after whatever they want and certainly not interested in what you want at all, you could be at the point of seeing that justice is done. And Scorpios have a very keen sense of justice. And so Scorpio rules psychology. And so generally if Scorpios want to sort of even the playing field and administer justice, they will first figure out what hurts most for the other side, and they'll make sure that that's done. And it's generally something that would last a lifetime. So you might be at that point, Scorpio, that what's done is done. And you could probably have a very good reason for that. And you have a lot of support and backup. It may be something that is connected to things that have been going on behind the scenes. And that either that you were hiding or someone else was hiding. And that can be seen now. So I wish you the best of luck. And one thing that I think that you will make the punishment fit the crime. In other words, I don't think you're going to overdo anything. But you will just make sure that fair is fair. You know, somebody's been doing something unfair to you. You just might be real sure that it happens to them too. Quietly. Even silently. So good luck, Scorpio. That's why this full moon indicates that it is not business as usual. That people have hearts. And when their hearts are broken, there's got to be some way to heal from that. And if for some reason you have found out that someone has been cheating you or kidding you or stringing you along or really just not doing anything or, appearing to be sincere but never doing anything to show it or prove it, then it's pretty easy for you to come to the conclusion that they don't care. And you would be right. And why hang around? So, Scorpio, you have a decision to make. And just remember, the sun comes up every day in a different place. I mean, every single one of us has a chance each morning to rise above our problems and go on. And you have a lot of energy in your sign, and you have a lot of backup right now. You can go on if you want to, Scorpio. So I hope you do. I think it'll make you happier in the end. All right, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Sagittarius. This is a time, since there's no planets in fire sign, Sagittarius went, oh boy, you too might want to sit something out. But because your sign rules traveling, it can be that you may come up with a little bit of extra money or some reason, some very good reason to take a trip. In fact, you know, the world is sort of hurting right now in a lot of different countries and in our own country. And you might decide with the holidays coming that you just want to go and help out somewhere. And that would be a noble intention, and Sagittarians have those noble intentions. Or that may be something you feel is the right thing to do. And so you could arrange a trip like that. And the reason why is there could be more money behind the scenes for you, Sagittarius, because the Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio are right behind your sun sign. And yes, they're being opposed by all the planets in Taurus. I'm not so sure your investments are going to pay off. But if you were starting to sell some investments because you didn't want them to go down further, then you may have some extra cash to go and do something that you feel could help a noble cause. And that is a nice way to spend the holidays, Sagittarius. I'm not saying that you're leaving tomorrow, but you might think of sort of doing the right thing that can be coming up. And what you would need is the money to get there or to do it. And I think that there's a very good possibility you could find that money somewhere, Sagittarius. And if you have a good reason for helping somebody out or doing the right thing, then I think that would be very successful for you. And that might be why, when your birthday comes up in December, you are going to be very, very busy. So I don't think that you're going to be celebrating your birthday by sitting at home watching a good movie or a football game or something and eating birthday cake. I don't think that's going to be have anything to do with your birthday this year, Sagittarius. You're going to be busy because Mars will be involved in the new moon in Sagittarius near your birthday. And Mars is energy, so you'll have it. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. This is a time, Capricorn, when you can be believing more in your own power, which you should. Pluto is direct in your sign. Venus in Virgo is trining it. You may decide that you want to make a decision about your job. Maybe you want to go a little bit higher in your job or improve your skill level in some way. You could do that right now because Venus is in Virgo, and Virgo rules teaching and learning. And also because Pluto is trining Venus in Virgo, it simply means that you may get some good news about your health, and you may even want to improve your health or your health care or your health provider in one way or another. And the fall season is when there are a lot of different choices that people can make about their health insurance. And you perhaps could make a better one. I don't know if it would cost you more or not, but how much is your life worth, Capricorn? You want to make sure that you're getting the best care. And of course you want to have something around that'll help pay for that. And yet it's the care that is the primary concern, Capricorn, not the money. Because you want to live a long time, and Capricorns do live a long time. But the idea is to be in good health while you're living through your old age. And that's why having really good health care is going to be awfully important to you, no matter what your age is, Capricorn. You're paying for health insurance somewhere, I'm sure. It's generally connected with a person's job. And so just make sure you're getting the best care, because that's what's going to make a difference in your long life. And so just remember that. And then the planets in Taurus are the exalted moon, Jupiter, and Uranus are all trining your sun. And even though they are being heavily opposed by planets in Scorpio, which sextile your sun, all the Scorpio planets sextile your sun, so do the Pisces planets. And then the Taurus planets trine your sun. You could make some very good business decisions right now, Capricorn. Or instead of even spending the money immediately, you could be mapping out, sort of setting up a different kind of budget, maybe for 2024, where you actually want to invest a little bit more in yourself and in what you do and and where your future is going. And that would be a wise choice. So this may be just a good planning time for you right now, Capricorn, but you're under wonderful aspects to come up with some pretty good plans. So I would do that if I were you. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius. Aquarius, there aren't any planets in air signs. But Aquarius, yours is a fixed sign. And remember, another way to ask, which side is going to win, the money and more of it people, or the wanting to do better and rise higher and heal people? Well, the answer to that comes in the way the planets are set up. And not just the elements that they're in, because they're only in two elements, earth and water, but the way they confront each other. And since yours is a fixed sign, Aquarius, you have 6 planets. It's just like Leo. You have 6 planets, all squaring and opposing your, all squaring your sun sign. And that is because the Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio are squaring your sun, and the exalted moon, Jupiter, and Uranus in Taurus are squaring your sun. There's something wrong with the money somewhere, Aquarius. It could be in your investments, but it could be in taxes that are getting higher and higher. It could be in increasing debt, but also the interest rates that are charged on debt, particularly credit card debt. That could get real expensive. So somewhere there is a financial problem that you need to face, Aquarius. And your sign doesn't have any backup because there's nothing in the air signs. All you've got are these 6 planets, all squaring your sun sign. And so, Aquarius, I hope that you are one of these people that has a savings account and then has a backup savings account, because you're going to need to use one or the other, maybe even both right now, in order to pay increased costs. Now, it isn't even that you are increasing your costs. It's that there is not enough money around. So what else do we have right now? We have imposters. We have swindlers. We have fraud going on. And so you could be involved in some matter that has to do with fraud. And you're the victim, Aquarius. You're not the perpetrator. You're the victim of it. And you got to look around. If you're looking at something that is really unfair financially, and you're saying, how did I get in this situation? It's too late even to be looking back. You're going to have enough money to get out of the situation. And I feel that you do, Aquarius. If you don't have the money to get yourself out of a fraudulent situation that you did not cause, but that's connected to your name, so you got to clear it, then you would know somebody else who could lend you the money. But you can get out of that. What if you don't want to? Because after all, you didn't commit the fraud. You're just the victim of it. Don't let it go another day, Aquarius, because it's hurting your reputation and your name. And the crooks will get caught sooner or later. But in the meantime, you have got to get out of that situation. And so even if you're a victim, all it takes is money, Aquarius. You can find the money or sell something or do something like that, and just get out of a fraudulent situation. End it. You don't need to end it through anger. Just say, look, I see that somebody thinks I owe them all this money. Well, just let me pay you. And then everything's canceled out. and I don't want to do business with you anymore. And you can even put that in writing, so you can keep a copy in case they try to come back. But that's what you need to do, Aquarius. You just need to spend the money and get out of a bad financial situation, even that you didn't cause. You see, there is the element of war and injustice and wanting justice right now that is going to make some people really mad. Okay, well, that anger takes a lot of energy. If you can solve it with money and save yourself all the anger, Aquarius, you should do that. Because Aquarians have vision. They have brilliant minds. Well, protect the way you work by getting rid of people that are no good for you. And if you have to pay something off, even though it's not fair to you, do it. And end it. And then go on. You have to preserve your own integrity, Aquarius. You can't even put a dollar amount on that. It's gotten you where you are today, and it's going to keep you going. Well, you need to protect it now. Get rid of the fraudsters. They're around, and some of them are after you right now, Aquarius. So find that money and pay them off. And hope they get caught. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, when, since yours is a double-bodied sign, and that means, you know, the two fish that represent your sign, one of them's flying up high, trying to do better. The other one is escaping their problems by going low into alcoholism, drug addiction, or sexual promiscuity. And so, you know, there's always that temptation around, Pisces. And Pisces are gentle souls. And so, Pisces, this is a time when, since yours is a healing water sign, you could actually know a lot of secrets about other people, Pisces. Pisces pick up on things real easily. They sort of know what's going on. So do Cancers, without talking about it too much. They can sense what's going wrong in different places. And so, Pisces, this is not the time for you to escape into anything that will harm you. But this is a time for you to rise higher, just to realize that you and I and everybody else in the world, we have made our share of mistakes. We're human. I don't think anybody's perfect. And so, if you have made some mistakes in the past, Pisces, I hope that you're on the road to healing yourself by rising above your past mistakes and wanting a better life and being willing to live it. And perhaps finding lasting happiness so that you don't have anything to escape to, because you'd be happy. And that's really worth it, Pisces. So if you need to acknowledge a past mistake and put it behind you and never do that again, then you'd be on a road that would give you greater satisfaction and happiness. And you would have tremendous backup and help with that. In fact, probably more than you want. And the reason why is because the Sun and Mercury and Mars in Scorpio are all trining your Sun, where you have Neptune, your own ruler, and Saturn. Saturn is retrograde, and it's at 1 degree, and it's going to get all the way back to the 0 degree in your sign and never leave. I mean, not now. It doesn't go any further than that. It turns around and goes direct. So it's going to be in your sign a pretty long time, Pisces. And I hope that you're just deciding to take a higher path, because you can do it. You can do it. And if you have to swear off a few little past habits of yours, just remember, there's something a whole lot better in your future. It's like you would be heading straight for the sun and all the light that you could possibly imagine. You would be bathed in light for the rest of your life if you decided to take a higher path right now and never look back. Just go forward. You would not be doing it by yourself, Pisces. Not with all those planets in Scorpio trining your sun. You might have somebody around in your life that would sort of keep you on the straight and narrow, if you should ever be tempted to waver off of that. But they're the ones that would believe in you so much that you could go higher. Because, you know, those would be the people that would be the wind beneath your wings. And they'd always encourage you to fly higher. And isn't that what you really want, Pisces? Who wants to live in the mud? Nobody. Except the vermin who live in the mud. Well, that's not you, Pisces. Your sign rules miracles, so you could perform a miracle on yourself anytime you wanted to, just by deciding to go higher. And now you have got probably the best backup that you will ever have in your life, with the Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio trining your ruler and Saturn in your sign. When Saturn and Neptune rule, Saturn will be back about 30 or 35 years later after it leaves, but Neptune will never be back in your sign again, because it's so slow it won't get around to that again in anybody's lifetime. So Pisces, which way do you want to go, Pisces? Aim for the stars. They will bathe you in light for the rest of your life, as long as you're going up. So I wish you the best of luck. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm sorry that it took so long to explain why it's not business as usual, but it isn't. And so we're just going to have to sort of live through a time when we have to face reality. And we also have to decide what's more important, the money or our hearts. And we're going to have to try to see if we can heal. Because that's actually where the strength is in the healing signs. So if you've always had your mind on money, you might try to think of different little things in your life right now that need healing, because that is possible. And that's why it's not business as usual. So thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show by subscribing to it on my Karen Campbell YouTube channel. And if you and I'll send it to you every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. and I hope you tell your friends about that too. And then if you want to understand the show a little bit better, you can always read the blog on my website, starborninstitute.org. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you next week. Bye.